What up, everybody? It's Golf on CBS. Shane Bacon alongside Patrick McDonald. Patrick, we're not going to set much up today. We got a character on the show. We got a guy that is in a very unique, or was in a very unique position a couple of weeks ago within the Ryder Cup. We were talking about it alongside him. Joe Skovron joins the show here in just a bit. How many guys have been inside of an American team room and a European team room? Probably not that many. And then obviously somebody that's been on the winning side of both. So Joe Scov's going to jump on. And Patrick, he's one of those dudes that's been on the bag for some pretty big characters, some pretty big names over the years.
Yeah, I've contended that he has the best gig in all of golf right now, pretty much playing video game golf with Lud, as we found out, is the safe way to say it. I mispronunciate just about every other word. So Lud, one syllable, is going to be great for me. But yeah, great conversation with him. Kind of get into the weeds of both the U.S. and the European team rooms, which was fun.
Yeah, and then just a reminder to everybody that cares about this stuff, Korn Ferry Tour Championship is this week. I'm hosting.
Give us a couple storylines, couple names.
Well, I mean, a couple storylines is like the guys outside the top 20 right now. So they changed it from 30 cards to 20 cards this year, so less opportunity for guys to get PGA Tour cards. I think Justin Suh is a guy I'm looking at just outside the top 20. One of my favorite dudes in professional golf, one of the truly nice guys out there. He's someone I kind of got an eye on. And then there's this guy named Sudarshan Yelamaraju, who's one of my – he won the second event of the year, okay?
Whoa.
Out of absolutely nowhere, wins in the Bahamas, hit every green and every fairway, right? Shoots 64 in the final round to win. And, nobody really had ever heard of this guy. He bypassed playing collegiate golf because he basically said his family couldn't afford sending him to college and decided to turn pro and then win. So it's this really cool story. He's this really nice kid. He's been clinging to the top 20 the entire season. I actually think French Lick's a good golf course for him. So just a couple of storylines to follow. But we've given out a decent amount of cards to this point. Christo Lamprick, I know a guy you like to follow, hits at 1.5 miles. He got his card officially announced this week. But we got a lot of guys buying for PGA Tour cards in French Lick. So that'll be on your TVs this week. So pay attention to that. But Patrick, let's get to the guest, man. Let's get to our guy.
Let's do it.
Joe Skovron joins us now. You can see him around the middle of your screen. Of course, the caddy for Ludwig Oberg. What's the pronunciation we're going with these days, by the way? What do you go with?
You got it right, Ludwig Oberg. I just call him Lud. I keep it simple. So
what is the first tee? What's the percentage of correct first tee announcements of his name?
It was messed up so much the first year. I'm not even sure it's to 50-50 yet. Like, people are starting to get it, but it's people butcher it all the time. I think the announcer in Europe on the DP tour really confused a lot of people because the Aubert came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so now we have that too. He doesn't mind the Aberg. It's like he went to Texas Tech, so no one's saying Ludwig Oberg down there.
Yeah,
so,
you're probably not getting that in West Texas. I wanted to ask. It's been a couple weeks since the Ryder Cup. The last couple of Ryder Cups, we've had some caddy, disputes, almost fights. It's literally been the last two Ryder Cups where a caddy has been involved basically with the player. I wanted to ask the dynamic of the caddies because we know how fired up the players get. You're representing your country. Obviously, you're kind of in a unique position being an American, obviously caddying for a European. But is it a situation where the caddies are as into it, if not more into it at times, than even the players in terms of maybe the back and forth or being in those matches?
Yeah, I think that week it gets emotional. Guys get fired up about things that they normally wouldn't. I think guys are looking for things like, were they trying to pull that on me? Were they not? And then you have certain guys that have a rep. And it just, a lot of things get blown out of proportion. So, and I've had that talk with caddies before. I try to stay out of the way as much as possible. You want to be fired up for your guy. You want to have your guys back. If something happens, you need to step in there. But we're also supposed to not be part of the show. Like, we're not supposed to be part of it. We're the support. We're not part of it. And so it's, I never like it when I see caddies start getting involved in that stuff. I just don't think it's a good look for us.
I am curious, from your first Ryder Cup to this most recent one, kind of as a caddy, the evolution in the involved with the Ryder Cup, it seems like every year you guys are more and more involved from the outside looking in. I was wondering if you could kind of speak on that.
As far as Caddie involvement?
Yeah, like with the team aspect of it
Yeah.
and everything internal wise.
Yeah, I think just as a whole, since I've gotten out there, Caddie involvement, people's awareness of caddies, you guys talking about us, the TV talking about us, people know our names now. I think, the Bones era kind of started that. But you only knew a few names before. Now you know most of the guys. If you're a golf fan, you know most of the guys because they're mentioning their caddy as well. And then it's very captain dependent, I feel like, on the caddy involvement. That's usually up to the captain, how he's going to have them involved. I've been on teams where you felt super involved. I've been on teams where you just kind of did your own thing and it was caddies with caddies and players with players. So there's a mix of that. Even on both sides, I've only had my experience with Luke, and there's a very tight knit, everybody feels part of the team. Even coaches, therapists, everybody's involved on that side. I heard that Keegan did a great job with it, but I wasn't in the room. So, but I know the caddies felt very involved this year as well. And there's always been even I know Tom Watson got his rep or whatever. I got along with him so well. I got emails from him and Andy North before the thing even happened asking me, hey, what do you think about this with Rick? Do you think he can go 5? Who's his best pairing? All these kind of things. And they really leaned on some of us for information as well. So I think it's just very captain dependent. Sorry.
I mean, as an American, as somebody that's obviously, caddied on the American side, a player can't change, right? I mean, outside of Rory Sabatini at the Olympics, it's like you're not going to change in terms of who you're playing for. I mean, it's your flag is your flag. Was it awkward? I mean, you were on Ludwig's bag in Paris or in Rome, right?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
A lot of people think I was. I was still working for Tom Kim. I went to work for him
so this is the first
24.
So this is the first one as a quote unquote European caddy. Like, were you nervous about it being awkward at all going into it? Was it awkward at all for you?
It's definitely a unique situation to be in. I had been in that situation with Tom at the President's Cup, and that was my first time not wearing US stuff. And that was a lot more playful atmosphere. Like the guys giving me a hard time. Max requested to play us in singles because he told me he really wanted to play against me more than Tom. He didn't talk to me the whole day. He's one of my best friends. I think he said one thing about how bad one of the pins was. And, we laugh about it later. He's like, I purposely didn't talk. I was like, I know, and so there was a lot of fun with it there. I think it's a different environment, but I also had to balance there that, I'd been so used to when you're working for Rickie, if Phil did something or if Jimmy Walker did something or Justin Thomas did something, you could get a little bit more fired up, but you kind of know how guys look at it when you're on the other side and you just try to kind of be the calm guy, do the thing. And it's kind of my style more anyway, but you're very conscious of it. And I was very conscious of it when Tom was celebrating, that I didn't get involved in the celebrations. I let him do his thing and had fun with him, but not showing that. But it's a whole nother step up at a Ryder Cup because just the emotions and how much people care and how much more it kind of feels like representing Europe versus the US. But I was aware of that when I took the job. There's been a lot of talk about it. A lot of people asked me how I felt about it, all these things. I will say when the national anthem was being played at the opening ceremonies, it kind of hit me, like looking over at the guys. And, I'm a proud American, but I also work for a European that this means a ton to him. I want to be a part of a winning team. I want to be part of that team. I want to be a good teammate to everybody, but I might not have the same emotional connection they have. So it was a very interesting balance and trying to balance your relationships with the other guys too. The guys that I always kind of talked to the guys on European side or international side that I was buddies with. When we played against Matty Kelly and Pinner, they were two of my best friends that worked for Cam Smith and Leishman, and I would talk to them the whole match, even when we were trying to beat them. So I was like that on the US side too, but I didn't want it to come across with the Europeans like, oh, he's better buddies with all them. Like, does he even care about us? So it was definitely something I was conscious of all the time, but I was just trying to be myself as much as possible.
I am curious, just in general, how did you and Lud link up? And How's the transition been to meters, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so it was through his agents at the time. At the time, he was with Butler Melnick was his main guy, and Sammy McNaughton was like his support guy as well. And they had been in the opposite role with Rickie. So I had a long relationship with both of them, and that's how we got linked up. When we agreed to it, we had never met. So my first meeting with him was
like online dating.
Yeah. My first meeting with him was over FaceTime, and we just kind of trusted the research both of us had done that it would be a good fit. We knew professionally it would be, but you don't know how personally it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And I realized that first week at Maui, like, okay, like this is going to work personally as well. I mean, he was awesome. He's just such a good person. He's everything that you see, and he's so mature and self-aware and very good at communicating and very open about it, which works with me very well. And the meters thing, a lot of people ask me, honestly, I was nervous about it the first week, but I learned all his numbers in meters. So it wasn't really that hard of a transition. You know, there's a couple places you go where the books are a little harder to figure out and stuff, but for the most part, we have meters books. You work off meters. Every once in a while, something will throw you with looking at a front yardage and, you know, how much different it is. And you or you hear somebody talking, but for the most part, I mean, I just think in meters when I'm out there now. So
what about when you play? Like you go play a course in Arizona, is it weird to transition back to yards?
Yeah. I mean, it's always been weird. I forget how far I hit it every time I come home because I just know my guys' numbers. The good thing for me is up at Whisper Rock at elevation, my yards numbers are very similar to his meters numbers because it hits so far. So it works out okay where I can at least base something, but I got no clue.
Like us, 178. I got this number dialed. I'm fine.
I mean, when I go play golf, I'm like, wait, what was I working on? Oh, how far do I hit a wedge? Oh, wait, that's his number, not mine. Yeah, so it's
just the numbers are computing like what is that beautiful mind situation. I mean, you're a really, like, you're a chill guy. I mean, you've got a very chill personality. I think something that I've noticed over the years with caddy player relationships is a lot of the time the player wants to get somebody that's not like they are. You've worked with guys that are chill. Rickie's a pretty chill guy on the golf course. Ludwig, obviously a very, very chill guy. I think even Tom Kim, as up as he can get at times, doesn't want to go after somebody in the crowd or whatever. Do you have to step out of your element at times when you have to be kind of the assertive caddy guy? If somebody's yelling at Rickie or somebody's giving Lud shit, is it weird for you to be somebody maybe doesn't fit who you are personality wise?
No, I've got, like, believe it or not, like when I grew up playing sports, I was super fiery. Like I was the quarterback yelling at everybody and, you know, and I coached a little bit. But as I grew older, I just learned the better way to do things is to kind of control it. And I think that's become my personality over time, a lot more chill than I used to be. I'm more of a, hey, like, I'm going to do it politely the first time. I'm going to do it politely the second time. And then you got to step up a little bit with it. And when it gets to that point, it's not forcing it at all. But I've been fortunate that it's, you know, Rickie, Lud don't like that either. So we just kind of like try to, you know, we're not out there for conflict. If it has to happen, then, you know, and that's the last resort, that's great. But even with fans, I try to ask them politely twice. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to change my voice a little bit, get assertive. I've had a couple of times where I had to get assertive with guys over time, or I'll just make sure I do it. I'll make sure I'm defending my guy, but it might not be in like a fired up, like, manner. It's more in a calm, like, hey, this is what we need to take care of kind of a thing. But I've had very few run-ins out there. Especially on the golf course. It's just, I just don't think it's worth it. A lot of times you can get around it.
I can't imagine anyone talking shit to Lug too. I mean, that guy
on
paper,
I mean,
like,
who's going after that guy?
Even last week, it was like the stuff they were saying to him was so different, right? You know, they were giving Rasmus and him a hard time about being ugly because they're both so good looking, right? And like a couple guys said, like, Lud, I want to hate you, but I can't, you know? And like, they still were given the choke and, you know, into the routine, the hit it right, don't choke, don't pull it, you know, that kind of thing. Pretty far into the routine. But as far as in between shots, I mean, the most grief we got was I took a carry bag the second round on Friday because I thought maybe we're going to go 5. I was like, I might as well do this. There was no rain. So, and he was all good with it. And we got a lot for that. Like, I mean, they were all over us. So those junior Ryder Cup clubs,
nice.
Play with a man's set. You can't carry a man's bags there, but that's fun ribbing. Like that doesn't bother me. That's what it's supposed to be,
I am curious. Is there anything from like Rickie's journey in your time with Rick, kind of going from like budding dynamo superstar to veteran stalwart on the PGA Tour that you can kind of impart on Ludwig now that you start on this path with him?
100%. I think that's a lot of the value I've been able to bring to him and Tom is I kind of have the answers to the test before the test, right? Rickie and I had to figure that out along the way. And I got to see all of it, like superstardom, not meeting expectations, then meeting some people's expectations, but maybe not others, and success and failure and the whole thing, rather than a guy that kind of flies under the radar on the tour. So with Tom, I thought it was valuable for him, and I think it's been valuable for Lud. Same thing with his agent, Butler. He's been through it as well. So I think you can kind of help provide a roadmap, and then they make it their own because they're all different people. So Lud and I have had a lot of talks about that, and he allows me to be very honest with him, and he's very honest with me, and it's great.
I mean, is it difficult? I mean, obviously you've caddied for 3 incredible players. I mean, we're kind of going through those names right now. Is it hard or is it easy to caddy for someone that swings it and hits it the way he does? I mean, it just feels like you say good shot a lot, right?
Yeah.
Get the number right. I mean, it's like, I mean, you hate to just paint him as this perfect.
You're playing Tiger Woods PGA Tour, it seems like.
It's like Kenny Brown's Scott in his prime or something,
I joked around a lot that it's when the software's running, it's like a computer, and like when that software
not working that hard, man, just get it right.
His auto is as good as I've ever seen, but I think that's a hard expectation for him too, is everybody just thinks he's not human.
Right.
Like I joked around with him like the second week with him, he finally said something that was somewhat controversial. And I'm like, oh, you weren't made in a lab. Like I thought you were just like a perfect human, and like I think that puts an expectation on you though, that's different, that people don't realize. Like he's still 25. He's still learning. He still hasn't been in certain situations. He's still, he looks so chill all the time. He's still feeling all that stuff. That's just the way he chooses to deal with it. Or like a lot of people ask me, does he have the fire? Does he have this? Does he have that? And of course he does, and like I tell people, I can tell if somebody has the fire by what they do day in and day out. Like anybody can act like it on the golf course. Like we can play once a month and go act like we care that much by having a temper or whatever. And we think that looks like we care, but like, are you doing the stuff every day? And he does. And and you'll see the fist pumps every once in a while. Like you got to see it at Torrey, and you saw it this week. Like you can tell it matters to him. He just chooses to do it in a different way that works for him. And I think it just creates an expectation that people think he's perfect. And it's like, no, he's still trying to get better, and he's still got things he needs to get better at. And he's still a person,
I was going to say the first time at Torrey this year when he was sick, it was a huge missed opportunity for not getting like an antivirus software, like sponsorship out of that one.
VPN.
Like going back to the Ryder Cup, I am curious, is there something top of mind that you think the general public has wrong or doesn't quite understand about the competition?
I mean, I think the general misconception I hear is the Americans don't care. And I was like, man, I was in that room. Like everybody cares. Like, and maybe there's mistakes along the way, or maybe haven't showed up and played as well as need to, or maybe haven't met the expectations that people have, and the Euros have done certain things better. But like the whole thing about they don't care is just wild to me. Like people act like, oh, it doesn't mean enough to them. I like the money thing, like that whole thing I think is blown out of proportion. I have my own opinions about that, but like, that doesn't mean they don't care. Like, it doesn't mean they're not there to win. It doesn't mean, Keegan put his heart and soul into it. Right. And somebody's going to lose every time, and sometimes they figure it out better. Sometimes we figure it out better. I mean, now I don't know who's we and they anymore with me because I'm an American, but I'm European as we now. So it's just, I think that's the biggest misconception. And then I just wish it's not really a misconception. I hope they can figure out what this event is in the US, like, what is it? What is it supposed to be? Because the fun ribbing, the giving a hard time, the cheering, even the booing is great. But like some of the stuff is just getting a little bit much to where even with the guys, some of the stuff is a little bit much. Like guys, like let's just go play golf, and you can see it in Scheffler. He just wants to go play golf, right? Love just wants to go play golf and beat a guy, but the other stuff is fun to a certain point too. I love the Justin Thomas fire and the fist pumps and all that stuff. It's great. It makes it more exciting. But I think we need to figure out like what this event's supposed to be, especially with the fans.
Skov, I mean, I think you're in such a unique position here because, and again, you're not in the Keegan room, but you've been in the American room, and you've obviously now been in the European side of things. And this isn't a question to dump on the Americans per se, but was there stuff happening with the Europeans? Was there that sense of chemistry you saw with the players on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that did feel different? Because we on the outside looking in, obviously look at this European side and go, these dudes are playing for each other. They're playing for this cup idea. I mean, even like the whole idea of Sevi, right? Like all the stuff that we lean on so much because we have to talk for 20 hours a day about this thing, for weeks on end leading up to it. Was there anything was there a feeling you had as you were really inside of that room on the European side that did feel different, more important, larger, bigger, any of that stuff?
Yeah, there was definitely some differences. There was a lot more similarities than people think too. Okay. But there was definitely some differences. The hard part for me is that's the only room I've been in. So, and they're usually very captain dependent. So I don't know if that's Luke or if that's the European team as a whole or their program and what they've become. And so that's hard for me to separate unless I see another captain. If it stays the same, I mean, you're walking in with a guy that they trust because they won in Rome, 11 of the same players. I mean, those two things right there are just a huge advantage, right? But I did notice as a whole, I think the connection, it was pointed out to me by a couple of the higher ups from the European Tour that the European Tour runs that part for them. So they already have a relationship with these guys, Steph Carew Gibbs, like Stuart Cage, all these people that are around them all the time are around them again. So they're so comfortable with them that I think there's a chemistry that is already there. It's not just the captain creating it. And then I think the connection to history that Luke did was, I mean, it was very connected. Our practice round outfits were all the times that they've won away or we've won away. I don't know how to say it anymore. The European team had won away. I guess it's we now. So that we've won away. And so all those things, the guys feel connected, like you said, to Sevi, to this, to all these things that were there. And the thing I noticed with this team, and I don't know if it's like that on every team, was there was no questioning Luke and there was no questioning Eduardo. Like if Eduardo told us we were hitting on odds, we hit on odds. If they told us we were going with somebody, we went with them. There was no lobbying for a different partner. There was no lobbying for different holes. Like literally, like we thought we were hitting evens all week. And the course setup dictated that we should hit on odds. And so the day before, Eduardo told us odds, and we said, okay, we're hitting odds, and we went and played. So I think there's a lot of trust there that was built up with Eduardo and Luke and that team. Sorry, Philip's going nuts over here. That's not getting through. He sees somebody out there. Yeah,
no,
so
we're good. I am curious. Do you have a favorite Ryder Cup or Ryder Cup moment being on the bag that like comes?
I mean, my first one with Rickie, the comeback against Eduardo Molinari was
4 down, 4 to go.
Yeah. So I think we were 4 down with 6 to go, or 5 down with 6 to go, or something like that.
You won the last 4 holes,
right? I think
right?
won the last 4 holes to tie the match. So that was pretty cool with Rickie being a rookie and a pick and the whole thing. That was as cool a tie as I'll probably ever be a part of. I really enjoyed, even though we lost, I really enjoyed the partnership with Jimmy Walker and Andy Sanders. We went all 4 sessions before the singles at Glen Eagles, and I really had a good time with that. Hazeltine, we won, so that was awesome. And then this one was a very cool experience for me, Lud being the only full point on Sunday, getting to see the other side, winning an away Ryder Cup, all those things, getting to be a part of a win on both sides. It's pretty cool for me that I've been able to be a part of that. So all those things would kind of add up, I think.
God, Patrick, we got to look that up. How many people in the world have a win on both sides? It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like Calipari.
It's like didn't Dion play in a World Series and a Super Bowl or something like within the same week or something crazy?
We gotta get that. I don't know.
Get that looked up. Skov, is there a best single golf shot of your career that you witnessed that stands out?
I mean, can I give multiple? Because it's like, I'm sure I'm gonna forget one.
I've got one in mind for you right now.
Okay, wow. Which one?
Second into number 10 at Pinehurst. The face you
made.
That
was pretty special. That was pretty special for sure.
Can you talk through that one?
That one, yeah. So, I think it was yards. I think it was 286 or so. And it was, we had a little bit of help. The ball's going. His 7-wood in yards, so people get it, is kind of like a 250, 55 club. And we wanted to take long out of play. And we're kind of trying to go for the front right part of the green. We're just trying to get out of there with 4. And he hit this thing and it went more online with the pin where the cover gets a lot longer. And it covered and then it stopped. And like the fact that it covered with that heat and stopped was like just shock for both of us that it went that far, covered and stopped. And it was just, so I think I didn't realize I'd made the face I had made. And he said he didn't even realize it until later either. We were just kind of both in shock that the shot did that, So that one's a pretty special shot. I'm sure there's a lot of those that weren't situational that were probably actually better golf shots.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, some of the ones that come up, I will say, like, for a big time, like, golf nerd, the one that Lud hit on 14 at Torrey Pines this year, coming home on down the stretch. Like, I remember looking at Marker Bannock, who was working for Tony Finau at the time.
Nice.
There's the one from Pinehurst.
That's a great face.
That face, man.
You got to get that blown up.
God, frame that behind you. That is so good.
Yeah. I don't know if I want that up.
All right. So what's the one at?
So the one at 14, like, if you're a golf nerd, like for caddies, whatever, like this shot really, like, you're coming down the stretch, you're in the hunt. It's a back right pin. Greens are soft. It is a wedge number, and it is a normal wedge number. So now it is a very small 9-iron number. But the wedge is going to rip back to 20 feet. Like, we can't hit the wedge close. And over that green is dead. So if you miss the 9-iron number, like, you're probably making double unless you get lucky, right? Because it's probably hitting the backstop and, back downslope over the back of the green and going into the hazard. And we were both like, the wedge is going to spin too much. We're taking 18 feet, or you can hit the shot with 9-iron. And under that kind of pressure to take that much off, to pull off the shot, to do everything. I mean, that was one of the most beautiful golf shots I've ever seen. The control over the nerves, everything else. And I remember talking to Bones about it after, because he was there. And then Marker Bannock, another caddy's like, I was kind of like, okay, we know this guy's got it now. Like, we know this guy's special. Like, that was like, it's different to get up there, rip driver under pressure. To do that is like, that's like really big boy, high level stuff. And then, like, Rick, that players, there was a few shots that came to mind. And I got to witness Tiger holing that shot at 16 for him.
Right.
That was pretty special.
Soft hand floppy was so dirty.
We just started laughing after. I think there's a video of like Rickie and I, like, they flashed us and we're just laughing because you can't make that shot. Like, hitting it to 3 feet, and the fact that it went in, it was just, we started laughing. We're like, only Tiger,
and drips in. I mean, it's not like it bangs into the flagstick and goes in. It was going to be an inch away. Scott, you were on the bag at Chambers Bay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rick, this is golf nerd stuff too, but I was walking with you guys practice round. I think it was DJ, Jimmy, you, Phil.
Okay.
And Ace at par 5, the one that's like up against the hill. I remember they had 9, the 2 tees, the par 3.
Yeah,
was weird.
Yeah.
But 8 was that par 5 up against the hill practice round. And I remember Rick, it was a hanging lie. And Rick hit driver off the deck and drew it. And I remember this is how golf nerd it was. Cause we're out there as a practice round, just like going through our notes and stuff.
Yeah.
And he hits it. It starts moving left. Phil and DJ are walking ahead and stopped and turned around and kind of gave him the U face from the picture. Yeah. Like, holy crap, Rick. Like some of the driver off the decks that Fowler pulled off. I mean, he's one of the great driver off the deck guys.
Yeah, he pulled it off and he wasn't scared to do it in a tournament or in a situation. Like he could hit the driver off the deck for sure.
Oh, it's just dirty. I got one more for you, Scott. We were talking a little bit about like you got a young guy on the bag, obviously I'd say probably one of those kind of cliche, older than the age appears kind of guy. I've been talking a lot about this with Nitties over the last couple of weeks about Korn Ferry Tour players. It feels like the young guys are just more mature now in general. They just don't really do stupid crap like away from the golf course. I mean, you grew up as a young guy caddying for a young guy that was extremely popular. I mean, you guys had fun at times. Do you feel like that's changed a bit? Or guys not doing as much stuff away from the golf course out as much as maybe they used to?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a shift there. I think these guys just, I don't know what it is, but the whole thing has become, it's not the go have a few drinks, show up the next day. Maybe a guy's a little hungover on Sunday, because they're in 30th. It's get in the gym 2 hours before your tee time, show up 3 hours before, go through the pins with your caddy. Like, it's just so much more structured, maybe more like another sport every day. And you just don't see many guys that go out anymore or that do that, especially at tournaments. There's just, you don't hear stories anymore. That, like we said, there's not as many characters anymore, right?
Yeah,
like there's not those guys anymore. And I think the game just demands it. It demands you to be such an athlete now, and speed's such a factor and all these things. And these kids are kind of raised this way and they're just so ready to go now, right? I mean, these guys come out in high school and make cuts and you're like, man, like Tiger didn't do that, like it was like you have to pay your dues, and guys didn't hit their prime till 30 something, and now guys come out at 21 years old and they're ready to win majors, and like it's wild. It really is.
It's crazy. I think there's two things I need is one is I need the return of the caddy nickname. That's also fallen off. I mean, the old caddy nicknames were excellent, and I feel like that's not the case anymore. But maybe a couple more characters on the golf side would be great. But you got a good one you got a good one you're partnered up with, man. It's fun to watch you guys go about your business. Appreciate the time. Congrats on the victory. You got a few weeks off and then you're back at it?
Yeah, we've got all of October off, and then we're doing Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and then we'll have another off season until we start again.
Nice time to be able to chill. Well, Scott, appreciate it as always, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.